What's up, Winning Shot family? Listen, 41-year-old LeBron James has beat the Houston Rockets. I have to eat my words. I thought they were going to get swept. Me and Hunter were just talking about this series. But what's going on? We're going to save that for later. We got a jam-packed episode for you. If you watched our last episode on the NBA, you know we were on the eve of the play-in games. Hundo, how are you feeling about this playoff so far?
Man, I'm feeling good. Of course, Knicks won, so that's always good. We had an upset. We had one upset, I think, this weekend. Everybody else took care of business, but we gonna see, man. We gonna see what happened, man.
Yeah, definitely a lot of it was an eventful weekend for NBA fans. Definitely being up here in Detroit, like it was just interesting to see how quiet it was, and I was like, back to their old ways. Yeah, but before we dive into the playoff games, like let's talk about the play-in games. We didn't get a chance to like recap the play-in. So I guess like just we'll focus on the ones that, got people into the playoffs. So like the Suns Warriors game and the Magic game versus the Hornets. Like let's start in the Eastern Conference with the Magic and Hornets. We talked off air and I was like, the Magic can't have two bad games, right? And I know you expressed, if the Hornets are on from 3, then it's going to get ugly. They weren't on from 3.
Bro.
They were not on from 3.
Bro, from the beginning, bro, I couldn't hit nothing, bro.
Bro, it was ridiculous. I was like, and then Khan, it was like, man, the whole season, it just felt like he was on. And then as soon as the playoffs hit, no more Khan.
Ricky slump at the worst time. Come on, dog. Yeah, Charlotte. They low key, like the way they play, low key remind me of like the Celtics. Like a great value Celtics. Like they gonna shoot a lot of threes. They trying to get up and down the court. They got the guards to shoot and hit the threes. They just got to hit them. And when you off, this is what can happen.
Yeah.
Orlando was more physical, getting to their spots. Paolo was getting to his spots. Franz was getting to his spots. They made it happen.
Yeah, I think like just looking at the stats, like seeing Franz was plus 29, plus minus. You have Paolo, who when he plays big, I don't think he can be stopped because everything is going to be a mismatch for him. I feel like the biggest thing is like Charlotte. Yes, they're the Celtics, but the way they play like the Celtics. But I think the difference between Charlotte and the Celtics is that when it comes down to it, our stars take over. Like you have, Baylor Shireman, you have Derrick White, all can shoot threes, knock them down. But at the end of the day, we know who the ball is going to, in the last 2 minutes of the game. I don't know if you can say the same thing about Charlotte. Like, LaMelo definitely, came to play versus the Heat. But I guess closer to the, as I saw the game progress, I wish LaMelo would have taken over a little bit more. And I had real questions about their identity because if you're just going to be a three-point shooting team, be that. But you also have to accompany it with good defense and transition defense. And I felt like that was kind of lacking in their game as well.
Yeah, LaMelo didn't really get going until the second half. Like he was struggling. He was quiet. And then he just turned it up in the second half. But by the end, it was too late. Like the game was already over in the first quarter.
Yeah.
They jumped on him early, jumped on him quick, and didn't look back. So hopefully that's a learning lesson from them. And then you look at somebody like Kobe White, who was hitting some big shots in the first play-in game, only with 4 points.
Yeah.
Against Orlando. So it's like, like when you're relying on these guys to come in and get buckets and then they don't come in and get buckets, it's just like,
Yeah, and I think like it's a real testament to the Magic as well. Like after, their first game with the Sixers, I just thought they had kind of packed it up and were getting ready to go home. But, they shoot 50% from the field. Charlotte shoots 33.7. And I think that kind of explains the game flow right there because like it wasn't just, them shooting better. I think they generated better shots. And after the game, I was like, listening to the post-game commentary and and one of the commentators, they said like, Orlando just played with a sense of urgency. And I think for Jamal Mosley, like the whole time, this whole season, everybody was like, he's out the door. He hasn't got players to buy in. But it was a real testament to his coaching ability to get these guys to play, good basketball together for, do or die.
Yeah, and like you said, like before the play in, everybody was like, "Yo, Jamal Mosley is on the hot seat. Like whenever their season is over, he might get fired, right?"
Yeah.
And these guys have came out the last 2 games, in a sense, playing for him, playing hard. Really, the last 3 games, if you look at the first round, but them boys playing hard, man. And like I said, they get into their spots, doing exactly what they want to do on the offensive end, and then they're getting stops on defense.
Yeah, for sure. So I guess like before we move on to the next game, like what do you do if you're the GM of Charlotte right now? What does Charlotte need in order to get back into this position and get better?
Me personally, I mean, I like what they have, especially in that starting 5. When you look at Musa, you look at Miles, you look at Khan, you look at Brandon Miller and LaMelo, like when those 5 are playing, and I said this a few podcasts ago, like when those 5 are playing, they're good. So I feel like another year of experience will definitely help. Another year of them consistently, that starting 5 consistently playing together will help. And then you just got to get some solid role players coming off the bench. Kobe White was a good midseason pickup, but after that dud in the play-in against Orlando, I don't know. You look at somebody like a Trey Mann, you look at somebody like Grant Williams coming off the bench. They haven't shown up when you needed them. So you got to go find those role players that can come off the bench and provide a punch, provide a spark, so that when guys aren't in the game, they can come in and hoop.
Yeah. I agree with you completely. I feel like the biggest thing for them is, like I've been saying, you need to stabilize the roster. Like you said, I think they got their core, they got their guys, but I really think that they need to add an adult in the room, add some kind of adult leadership that can still contribute. And also, focus on upgrading the front court. I think one of the things that like the Spurs do so well, like we talked about off the air, is like they've kind of mixed in their veteran leadership with their young talent. Like you have guys like a Harrison Barnes who can still contribute, but also I'm sure he provides a lot of veteran leadership in that locker room, along with like a De'Aaron Fox. And so I feel like there were some times, even for like Khan, like I feel like having a veteran guard, like a veteran 3-and-D guard, maybe like a Kevin Huter, somebody like that, who could calm Khan down and also still contribute. Because I felt like there was a lot of times, and when I was watching that, Khan was just trying to like get out of the shooting slump and be a hero. And I just think with age and just maturity, that's going to change. I think he's going to play more smart basketball. But I think even for LaMelo, like, LaMelo had just come off of this like drought in terms of the playoffs. But now he needs like a veteran in the locker room to teach him how to get over the hump, right? And I think 2 or 3 years ago, that would have been like a Mike Conley, what he provided for the Timberwolves. I think he's a little too old now. But somebody like that, I feel like can kind of like, it'll be a sneaky piece and probably cheaper, but it'll definitely help them in moments like this to, stay locked in.
Yeah, I just wonder who that is for them right now. Like when you look at the veteran landscape of guards, it's just like who can still play and contribute, but is also like willing to come off the bench at this point. Because like I said, I don't think they're blowing up their starting 5. Maybe they could move on from Miles Bridges if they choose so, but I don't think they should. But other than that, I don't see them touching anybody in their starting lineup right now. So
yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, I agree. I'm curious to know, like, what direction they take, because, a lot of times when you have like, this flash, the star in the dark, it's like people automatically assume that you can do the same thing and get right back to where you are. But the East is going to get better next year, right? I'm pretty sure Atlanta's probably going to add a top pick. You got Indiana coming back. And even with like a Boston and Detroit, they're going to get better. And so Um, I think adjustments are needed, but also too, we can't forget the beginning half of the season. Like Charlotte was not good. They were trending more towards a lottery pick than playing. So how do you start faster? Start with more urgency so that you can avoid that because a lot of people are saying, "Oh, this is like a building block," which it can be, but it also could go the other direction, right? And now, when you have to start paying players, it gets kind of tricky. Your window of opportunity, it gets smaller and smaller.
Yeah, you're absolutely right about that. It can go either way.
Yeah, for sure. So speaking of that, like one team that has their window of opportunity going short and short is the Warriors. So the Warriors, they won their first playing game versus the Clippers, but they kind of, I wouldn't say wet the bed, but they lost versus the Suns, who just had more in terms of their roster and just in their intensity. I don't think the Warriors can match. Talk to me about that game. What do you feel?
Yeah, I just like you said, I feel like the Suns was just too much. We talked about it off air, and we we've been a little bit hard on Jalen Green because he's inconsistent. He's up and down, but the man showed up and showed out in the play-in. I didn't think I was texting you before the game. I was like, I don't think Draymond is going to be able to guard any of their perimeter players like he was able to guard Kawhi in that first playing game, and he wasn't. Like
Yeah.
Jalen went crazy. Devin Booker was solid, and they were just too much. So shout out to the Suns, man.
Yeah, I love the Suns' competitive edge. It seemed like they play with purpose. Even in their mistakes, they kind of like, uh, they made up for it. And I feel like the biggest thing is like Golden State's defensive problem. It wasn't just about stopping one scorer and Jalen Green. I felt like they failed to follow like a game plan and shrink the game, especially when Phoenix found rhythm. I feel like there was a lot of times I saw, even with Jalen, the Suns got too many clean possessions, and it was kind of disappointing. But also, too, you think about the age of Draymond. It's like I feel like Draymond, one of his key attributes is like he sets the tone, and that's how they were able to win a lot of championships defensively. And I feel like everybody wasn't bought in defensively, and the Suns really got what they wanted. And I feel like you can't expect Draymond at this stage to like be that defensive anchor every game. I feel like moments like the Clippers game where he locks up for 2 minutes, that's kind of spurts that I think he can still bring. But I feel like looking at the defense, it was very disappointing. Nah, can you hear me? Got some technical difficulties.
Yeah, now.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, I was saying, moving forward, how do you fix that? The defensive problems that they have. I mean, I'm sure Jimmy Butler helped that whenever he comes back with the versatility of him being able to guard multiple positions. But when you look at this team, and we were talking about it before, it's like, what pieces do you have that you're fine with moving off of that you can go get somebody to either add, or do you move on from Steph? I can't hear you. Man, you just said it, man.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you now.
Yeah, I said I feel like the time is now to just go
Uh-huh.
ahead and pull the plug, because I just feel like defense comes around culture, and you have to have young guys that are bought in. And I feel like you can only have either or in this situation, especially with their roster. And I feel like this is the top of what Steph will be, in terms of, that downward decline. I feel like you can get the most of him right now. So if I'm Mike Dunleavy, I would answer the calls and see what kind of Godfather offer there is. And like, I think, people come back all the time and, retire. So I don't think that's a problem. But I feel like there's a couple of teams I'm thinking about that, definitely should pull the trigger if they're the Warriors, if he's on the market.
Yeah. I just wonder what that package looks like. I mean, we saw a few players get traded here and there throughout the season. It's just like, what does a Steph Curry package look like right now? And also, like, what kind of team would he even want to go to? Of course, a contender, of course, but like, who's a contender that could really use him, that has a good enough package to either go get him, or if you're the Warriors, if you plan on keeping Steph and you want to move some pieces around him, what do you try to add? So I guess we'll see. But I mean, I sent you that earlier about them being in conversations about an extension with Steph. So it's like he's getting up there in age. I think he's 37, 38 now. So it's like a 2-year extension is what we were discussing possibly. So we'll see.
So I know we talked about like the extension with Steph, but do you think that this could be the end for Steve Kerr, or do you think he's a lifer too?
I don't know, man. The way he was talking sounded like he about to be out of here. in all honesty, as much as I want to see him, stay with Steph and Draymond, but like, it just don't sound like his heart all the way in it for real. Like, he sound like he tired. Like, he don't want to go through another season like this. He's talking like, it might be time for a new voice. Yeah, it's time for you to go when you start talking like that. It don't even sound like he want to be there. So if that's what they got to do, I guess that's what they got to do. I mean, I doubt they want him to leave either. But I mean, like I said, the way he talking, don't give me no hope that he want to be there.
Yeah, I feel like Steve Kerr is just frustrated. I think when he looks at it, he's tasked with not only providing championships to Golden State, but also mentoring and developing young guys, which I don't think he's signed up for. And honestly, I feel like it's time. Like, we've had enough of like this, because I feel like they're still trying to squeeze the juice out of the championship runs, and that's just no longer what they are anymore. And obviously, I don't think things got better. Like, I don't know that the internal situation with Golden State, but I think that Steve Kerr had a big part in what happened with Jonathan Kuminga, and just that divide. I feel like it was more, not necessarily just like Jonathan specifically, but I feel like it was just a split in the consciousness between this older coach who's used to coaching veterans and this younger guy who wants more play and wants to be more involved in the offense. And when they were winning championships, Steve Kerr could definitely, have riffs with players and tell them to sit down and trade them, because you had KD, you had Steph, you had Draymond, you had Andre Iguodala, you had all these players who, you could focus on the main thing. But if you see anytime like you have riffs with these young guys, like, it's usually the coaches that placate and, kind of pacify these guys that get to stay in those positions. The guys that continue to have the riff with your future are usually out the door.
Yeah, and I wonder what that means for somebody like Draymond too. Like, if Steve Kerr is going, like, are you sticking with Draymond? Or are you looking to move him as well? Like, what does that mean for everybody else that's on the team? Like, is everybody else free game as well? So we gonna see.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so we starting in the Eastern Conference or the Western Conference?
We can start in the East.
All right. All right, let's start with the first game of the day in the Eastern Conference. That was the Toronto Raptors and the Cleveland Cavaliers. Cleveland pulled away around halftime, actually. I was watching a little bit of this game. It seemed like they needed a little bit more from Brandon Ingram. But I feel like the Raptors were just young coming in. A new experience for them with this roster currently. And when you have a Harden who's been there multiple times, plus Spider adding that punch, I just feel like Cleveland is just too much for the Raptors right now.
Yeah, and we talked about that in the previous episode. It's just like you got two people like Harden and Spider that's been in these situations before, led teams, carried teams. This is their time to shine. This is a big confidence boost for them in game one. It ended up being closer. The final score ended up being closer than what it should have been, but they were controlling that game the whole time. And like you said, just too much. Brandon Ingram, only 9 shots. Like, come on, you gotta be a little bit more aggressive, looking for your shot. But I just don't think they have enough in this series.
Yeah, I didn't even finish watching this game, but one of the things I took away is like now I see, like, granted, you see the points that he put up with the Rockets and the Clippers, but now I really see the value of James Harden because he controls the game just strictly through his pace. Like the game doesn't go faster or slower than he wants it, and that pick and roll with him and Jared Allen, I think, is going to be deadly, because it's going to open up a Sam Merrill, Dean Wade, Max Strus, and on top of that, when they need to get a bucket, you can always pass it to Spider and sit down. And I think for a majority of James Harden's career, he could never sit down, especially those prime the Rockets teams. But the minute he sat down, you got to rely on the Daniel House or Ryan, I forgot his name, Ryan Anderson, to kind of keep, things going. But now it's just like he was taking 2-3 minute spurts where he was sitting on the bench and Spider just took over. And so arrested Harden. I'm curious to know what this looks like for the longevity of the playoffs.
Yeah. Like we had talked about, Schroeder didn't really do too much, but they didn't really need him to. So we gonna see.
Do you think this Ross? Do you think that it's going to be a sweep, or do you think the Raptors can turn around?
I still think it's going five or six. I give the Raptors a game or two.
What will it take for the Raptors to beat the Cavs?
You got to get stops. You got to start on the defensive end. You got to be able to get stops. You got to either get Harden or Spider out the game, slow him down a little bit if you can. If you can't stop him, at least try to get him in foul trouble and get him off the court, and force somebody else to have to play, more minutes. They didn't have Quickly the other day, so that was a big blow for him. So somebody got to step up off the bench for the Raptors, because this starting lineup is not going to be able to get it done by themselves. So hopefully somebody can step up off the bench. If they can get Quickly back anytime in this series, that'll be a plus. But they got to find a way to get stops, and they need Brandon Ingram to be a little bit more aggressive.
Yeah, completely agree. I think Quickly might add a little punch if when he's back. But I just feel like it's too much. Like I think with Cleveland, I feel like Brandon Ingram's going to have a couple of killer moments. And the other role players, I feel like Scotty Barnes was controlling the game the first 5 minutes, and then he got into foul trouble. And so the question is, can he move his feet on defense, and still provide that offensive, punch that he gave initially? Because I feel like Scotty, his punch is not necessarily seen just scoring. Like he was rebounding, he's getting people in the, right places. But also I feel like how long until, the Cavs figure it out, because you still have, different ways you can win. So I just don't see them. I think it might go 5, like you said, but I think it's going to be quick.
And the Cavs got a big lineup, man. Jared Allen and Mobley down there, like that's a lot to deal with. So
Facts.
they got to figure out something, because the Raptors are long and athletic, but like they're not bulky for real. So
yeah. All right, let's go to your team. Y'all pulled out the win, and I thought it was going to get shaky. When it first started, y'all were just keeping it close, and I was like, this is the kind of games that the Knicks would let go. It seemed like Jalen Johnson and the Hawks, they were trying to get out in transition, beat y'all by the 3, but the Knicks were too much. So go ahead and speak on your team. How do you feel after game 1?
Yeah, man. Shout out to Jalen Brunson, man. He started off cooking. The game was closer than it should have been. The way he was hooping at the beginning, like you said, just letting them hang around, bro. It's just like, yo, we gotta put these teams away, especially when you got somebody like Ricochet out there bricking shots. Man, we gotta put them away, man. We can't let Nikhil Alexander Walker get confident. We can't let CJ get to his spots and do what he want to do because he started hitting some tough shots. Kongwa hitting threes. Like, come on, dog. Like, what are we doing, bruh? So we was able to get it done, man. I'm proud of the guys, man. Game 1-0. I'm feeling confident, man. I'm feeling confident because coming into this, I was a little bit nervous. So hopefully we can keep Nikhil Alexander Walker, under control a little bit. Don't have him going crazy. Keep throwing multiple bodies at Jalen Johnson throughout the series. And offensively, man, I like how we looked offensively, man. We was moving the ball. JB was cooking. Cat was cooking. So I'm excited moving forward, man. I feel like we should take care of business in this series.
Yeah, it's not fair though, because every time Zachary Ricochet is on the court, y'all play with 6 players. And it's like that was a clear miss. I'm sorry, I'm gonna call it. Like I just don't see him improving from where he is now. And the fact that you can't go to your bench, because I think Gabe Vincent had like 2 points. That's the biggest concern for the Hawks. Y'all have, OG, Mike Howe, even Mitchell Robinson, guys you can pull from your bench and say, go and give us a couple minutes. Where the Hawks, if their 5 is not on, and the fact that you're expecting CJ McCollum to, continue to contribute like a starter or, a star starter, I just don't think they have enough. Maybe in a year with this next draft pick, we can talk, but I just feel like they're kind of limited in terms of what they're trying to do.
Yeah, and one thing that I will say that I'm a little bit concerned about moving forward, Brunson was switching on to Kuminga a good bit. And we were talking about this when we were recording the other pod, but like if Kuminga is attacking Jalen Brunson on the offensive end and he just going at him and drawing fouls, that could be troubling. Because if Jalen Brunson is off the court and in foul trouble, that changes the game. So hopefully the Knicks saw that. And like I said, Kuminga didn't necessarily take advantage of it against Brunson the first game, but if he is able to take advantage of it and draw fouls on him, watch out. It can get interesting.
Yeah. And the thing is you got players that like I love Dyson Daniels, but he is a liability on offense. And when you reduce the amount of scores that you have on a team, it completely changes the defensive strategy. And you can just focus your consciousness on, a Jalen Johnson, CJ McCollum, and these guys are cones out there. And it's just like, I feel like Atlanta has to incorporate more scoring. And honestly, like, I've watched, up here with the high school basketball, like there's times where I've seen people that like a Dyson Daniels just being used as a decoy. You run offense through him because you want him to get going. But the problem is like he's not even looking to shoot. So I think like, going forward, I just don't know what, Quinn Snyder is looking for in terms of, offensive production and how to stop the Knicks, because you're going to have to score because, Jalen Brunson is going to put up, high volume shots. Same thing with Cat. You have to match that, but also be more efficient. And I just don't think that they have efficient players on their team outside of a Jalen Johnson.
Yeah, I think also, like I said, them attacking and trying to get downhill when you have somebody like a Dyson Daniels or Ricochet out there, bricking shots. Get downhill, get to the free throw line. So, I mean, if the three is not falling, if the jump shot's not falling, you got to find a way to get to the free throw line. So, I mean, that's a simple adjustment.
Yeah.
Attack, drive.
And like you said, when we talked, like what happened? Like he was getting 33, 34% in New Orleans. And like perfect examples like with Raven Johnson. Like when she was getting blown off versus Iowa, when she started adding a jump shot and she could knock down the three, it changes USC completely. Even though she might not be a scorer, she could pair her defense with a threat of offense.
Yeah. And Buddy numbers just plummeted this year, bro. I think he's shooting like 18% from three. Like, bro, what? Like, you were shooting 30. You were shooting 30 before, bro. Like, that's respectable, bro. You dropped to 18. Like, yeah, we're not worried about you shooting.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I don't know form or what, but he gotta tap back into that 30% shoot at least.
Yeah. No, I agree. I feel like the only problem is, though, and going back to the Knicks, is just what it looks like when they sit Cat and bring in Mitchell Robinson, just because he is a liability offensively, and towards the end of the game, the Hawks started to come back. So I'm curious to know if they can, their 3-point percentage, can keep them in games. But I wonder what it looks like if everybody's on. Do you keep Mitchell Robinson, as a threat? Because the Big O is shooting threes like he did last night. Well, I think 2 nights ago. Then it's like, do you keep Cat in and just go on a shootout, or do you sacrifice and just say, hey, Big O hits it, he hits it? Like, what is the strategy going that route?
Yeah, I didn't really like Mitchell on the perimeter trying to guard Big O. Not that he was like blowing by him or anything. Like he was putting his hand up, but like that wasn't it, bro. Like just knocking him down, bro. It's like, yo, we got to change something defensively, bro. Like Mitchell Robinson is not the answer against him on the perimeter. So hopefully, whether that's going small or not switching as much, I don't know, but like at least get him off the 3-point line because 2s are less than 3s. So if anything, close out hard and let him blow by you. You ain't got no protection behind you with Cat being back there, but hey, it is what it is. I'd rather think you give up the 2 than give up 3.
Yeah. Nah, I agree with that, bro. Anything else on this game?
Nah, man. Like I said, man, hopefully, Jalen Brunson doesn't get in foul trouble this next game, but I'm confident moving forward, man.
All right, let's go to the top team in the East. And I wasn't talking about the Pistons. Let's go to the Celtics game versus Philadelphia.
Boy, y'all not the top team in the East, boy. Shut up.
Pun intended. All right, so I feel like after the play-in game, the 76ers had, momentum, especially without Embiid, and we killed it. I think I have to give my flowers, obviously, to JB and JT, but I really want to give flowers to Queta, because Queta is a special type of big that I think specializes in drop coverage, and he can go on the perimeter. And Loki, he can give you at least 12 a night. And I feel like this is the perfect big for the system that Joe Mazzulla wants to run. And I think he was with Sacramento before. I forgot. But it's like nobody was expecting this kind of production from Queta. But I thought that after we lost KP, after we lost Al Horford, that we were really just going to stink, in terms of the center position. But he's provided a spark, and he has steadied the ship so that other people can produce. And that was really my biggest takeaway. Now, obviously, a prime, healthy Embiid is probably still abusing Queta. But I think for what we're trying to do in terms of getting out and scoring, like we put up 123 points yesterday, and the 76ers had no answer, when I feel like, even Maxey had a good game. But I think the series is going 4, and I think it's just going to be a clean sweep all around.
Yeah, I told you before when we were talking on the previous episode, I'm like, this is about to be a confidence game for y'all, confidence series for y'all. And it showed that first game. Like everybody was getting their shots up, hitting them, knocking them down. Like it's literally nothing the 76ers can do. Like they don't have enough. Like when we played y'all in the regular season, like I saw that man Shireman going crazy. Like I saw it with my own eyes. It's like, yo, they got too much over there, bro. Like it's just not enough for PG and Maxey. Like they got to be healthy. VJ barely did anything, so we gonna Good luck. Get ready for next season. 76ers. It's been real.
Yeah, we'll save the GM coverage of the 76ers until the series is officially over, which will be soon, probably next week.
It's over. Series is over.
Nah, but I'm excited to see it. I feel like if everybody can be healthy, I really do believe that this next series with y'all is going to be the determining factor of who makes it out of the East. Because transitioning, the one game that was the surprise for everybody was with the top seeded Detroit Pistons versus Orlando. Orlando steals game one. I didn't get a chance to watch much of this game, so I kind of let you take the lead on this one in terms of what you saw and things you can take away from it.
Yeah, man. So just off the rip, like they jumped on them pretty quick. It was up double digits early. They let them come back a little bit, but they pretty much controlled the game. I don't think the Pistons had a lead the entire game. Even when they did cut it down, they cut the lead down to like 2 a couple of times. But other than that, like Franz was getting to his spots. Wendell had some big plays. Paolo was making plays, but it was really Franz. Like Franz was the big difference maker, and really playing at a high level. Like I said earlier, like they're getting to their spots. They're doing what they want to do on offense. They're playing hard for Mosley. They're getting stops on the defensive end, and they really took the fight to Detroit yesterday.
Yeah. So I know you had I'm sure you had the Magic as the coming out the East at the beginning of the season, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So they're turning it up, but like let's say in the chance that they beat the Pistons in the series, do you think that they could make it out the East still?
If they're playing how they're capable of playing, yes. But like, are they going to do that? I don't know. Like, I feel like it's a game to game thing with them. Like right now, yes, they're being the more physical team. They're getting inside. The people who need to be shooting threes are shooting threes. And they're playing how I expected them to look all season. But it's like you're just now turning it up at the end. Like I can't trust that. I got to go off what I've seen. So I don't know if they're beating Boston. I don't know if they're beating the Knicks. So could they beat the Pistons? Possible. It's possible.
Yeah, my issue with the Pistons is just at the trade deadline. I was telling you, it's like they need another piece and they need another scorer. They heard me and they went and got Kevin Huerter. No disrespect to Kevin, but I feel like they needed a third option, and I feel like that's been the struggle because now you're forcing Cade to be on every game, and he's coming back from a collapse lung. So I feel like he's even still getting into the basketball shape. In addition to Jalen Duren, who is not necessarily like a Bam type player, because I feel like Bam can score in a myriad of ways where I feel like Jalen Duren can just dominate down low. And I feel like I'm curious to know what Jalen Duren, the evolution of his game looks like, 2-3 years from now. But I feel like for right now, they needed a guy who can just go off and, kind of steady the ship, kind of like like a Luke Kennard kind of guy that, we'll talk about later with the Lakers. But I feel like they don't have that yet. And that's what was concerning me last year. And I think it's going to be hopefully not the thing that leads to the demise this year.
But see, my thing is like a lot of those guys stepped up when Cade was out. So it's like they're capable of doing it. It's just like, yo, if somebody's not on, you still got to be able to step up. Just because they playing and they off, don't mean you could just still take a night off. Like somebody got to step up, whether that's Duncan Robinson, whether that's Danish Jenkins, like somebody got to step up and go get some buckets. So we're going to see. I feel like they should be fine moving forward, because I don't think, like you said, to your point, like Doran is not this offensive threat that you're running offense for. Technically, you might throw a lob and get him a post touch, but other than that, like you're not really running no plays for Doran. So
yeah,
it is going to be interesting to see how he develops and if he can be consistent, especially in the playoffs.
Yeah, for sure. All right, let's go over to the West. So I'm gonna save that one for last. So let's talk about some of these kind of blowouts. So Thunders and Suns. What do you want to talk about with that game? Minus 17.5 for game 2, and they blew out the Suns game 1. Do you see this being much of a series?
Yeah, I told you, with these playing games, these playing teams, Orlando proved me wrong. But the Suns don't have enough. Pack it up.
Yeah.
Trailblazers don't have enough. Pack it up. That's all we gotta say. Both of those series about to be over.
Okay, between the Thunder and Suns and Spurs Trailblazers, do you see them both being sweeps, or if one went 5, which one series do you think would go 5?
Maybe Portland. I think Portland could get one. The way Denny's been hooping, I feel like they can get one. If the Spurs are off, you're not stopping Wemby. You gotta find a way to slow down Castle, bro. He's been hooping, but like you gotta find a way to slow him down. If you can slow him down, you got a shot.
Yeah, the Spurs are just too deep, man. I can't
They are.
it, yeah, because I mean, you say that you stop Stephon Castle, you still had Devin Vassell, you still have Dylan Harper coming off the bench.
I'm taking my chances. I'm taking my chances. I'm sorry.
Yeah, all right.
And it'll still be a close game. It's going down to the wire if they win.
All right, let's go to the Timberwolves and Nuggets. Timberwolves really came out flat this game. I felt like this was one of those moments where game 1, I thought Ant was going to have a moment. And, he's known for defeating legends. And I thought they were at least going to play with more of a sense of urgency. But it felt like, honestly, they were playing like they were the 3 seed and the Nuggets were the 6 seed. Not too much to say about the Nuggets. Like, obviously, you know where I stand on them. I think Jokic just dominant. Feel like the biggest thing from difference from last year is just Aaron Gordon's health. I feel like Aaron Gordon has provided the necessary third option for them, and is just always in the right place at the right time. And I felt like the Timberwolves were, I wouldn't say didn't have an answer for Jamal Murray, but I feel like it's just going to get real tricky at the guard position, being able to contain Jokic, but also for the guards to guard Murray.
Yeah, and I feel like with Murray, it's like if you're the Timberwolves, I guess the good thing is like you could throw multiple people at them.
Yeah.
But I feel like a lot of their problems really came on the offensive end. Like you gotta be able to take care of the ball. You really need a point guard, if we're being honest. You really need a point guard. Like Ant, great scorer, not the best point guard.
For sure.
So I mean, you gotta find somebody that can play the point, that can truly, run the offense and get others involved. But they don't have that right now. So, like you said, like it's going to have to be a spectacular performance from Ant-Man of just going crazy and hoping that they're able to get enough stops. So I was low-key let down by this performance by the Timberwolves, but we're gonna see, man. I still think this will be a competitive series because of Ant-Man. And I feel like they'll be able to slow down Jamal Murray at some point.
Yeah, so I want to ask you this: like, let's say the Timberwolves lose the series. Do you consider what they spent for Gobert? Do you think that his tenure in Minnesota has been a bust?
What they had to give up, yeah, they gave up a lot to get him, bro, and like, yeah, bro, like a ridiculous number, like, yeah, I mean, you would hope that they would at least be able to get to the finals. I feel like that would be a success, but with this matchup, I don't even know if they're making it out the first round right now. So
yeah,
I feel like that window is kind of gone. But like, if they do lose this series, it's like, who do you move? What are the decisions that you have to make if they do, lose this series? Because you're not getting the compensation that you gave up for Gobert if you decide to move on from him.
Correct. Yeah. Question is going to be, kind of like we've been teasing, at every NBA podcast is what happens if the Atlanta gets a top pick? Like, do you make the trade and just say, hey, we'll figure it out?
Yeah, I just don't know I don't know, bro. Like a top pick and what else though? Like who else are they giving up? Because if I'm the Timberwolves, I don't want Ricochet. I don't want Daniels.
Yeah. See, that messed them up. I feel like if Ricochet would have had pops of good, if he would have been Alex Sarr, right? If he would have just been capable with, starlight potential, I feel like he could have easily been tradable. But the more he plays, the worse it gets.
Yeah. Like, do you give up a top pick? And I don't even know if the Timberwolves will want CJ in return, even though CJ is still playing at a high level. Like, I don't know what that trade looks like right now for Atlanta. Like outside of that top pick, if they can get it, like what do you pair with it to try to truly go get Ant? Because it's gonna take a lot to go get him.
Yeah, I would put all my first on the table and say, which ones do you want? I'll do pick swaps. I mean, I don't love them trading Gabe Vincent for Luke Kennard because I feel like he would have been a piece that I could see included in that. I don't want to touch Dyson Daniels, but you might have to. But low key though, in this draft, it's not like you're saying which is going to give you number one for Ricochet. It's like, man, this is one of the best draft classes that we've seen in the last decade, potentially. So it's like, yes, I do think they're going to have to give up a boatload, but I don't necessarily think it's that much because Minnesota can say, hey, we're getting off the books with Ant. It was time. He gave us some great years, and we get back at AJ DeBanza. Like, that's not a bad trade-off, technically.
It's not. It's not. But I need a little bit more conversation from my franchise player. I'm sorry, AJ, you're good, but I've seen what Ant-Man can do at this level. So I'm gonna need a little bit more. So I don't know if they have to involve another team or what, but if Atlanta can do that, that could be tough in the East. Ant-Man, Johnson. I don't know what the rest of the team looks like because I don't know who you're gonna have to give up in that trade, but that's a start.
Yeah, and obviously it's gonna come down to where the lottery balls fall.
Yeah,
1 and 2, I could see Minnesota being interested, but 3 through 6, you're kind of like, okay.
Hey, if Atlanta get pick 7, we're good.
Yeah, we'll keep him here.
Top 3, we can have a conversation.
Y'all can have Rudy. I've been trying to stall, trying to avoid this conversation, but the Los Angeles Lakers beat a KD-less Houston Rockets team. I think this was definitely an impressive win for LeBron James, especially being 41, and it seemed like he was controlling a lot. And also Ayton came to play. I watched the game to the third quarter, and I was like, I text you. I said, the script is written. I see it happening. I see it happening. Because hopefully KD returns the next game, but it's like, the one thing I will say, honestly, Houston just looks so lost on offense. And it seems like they built their culture around defense, but and I feel like in this league today, you have to be able to score and you have to be able to generate good looks. And when you have a guy, just the same thing I was saying about Dyson Daniels, I feel like, Amen Thompson is a good scorer, but he was missing a lot of shots too. And I feel like there has to be, kind of a yin and a yang where I feel like a majority of their season, they were relying on, we're going to play one-on-one ball. Obviously, they're going to have to come and double KD. Everybody else adjusts to KD's double, get in the right position, knock down the three, or, knock down the open shot. Now with KD out, it kind of exposes a lack of game planning. So that was my biggest takeaway from that game. And it just doesn't look, those kind of problems you can't solve in 4 games. Those are season long things that you covered up because of KD. But it seems like the Band-Aid has been ripped off, and now you're going to ask KD to come back, and then you're kind of doing the same stuff. And hopefully it doesn't run a 6 or 7 games where you have Luka back and Austin Reeves back, who can score. Plus you have Bron for 1 game. I don't think Houston can contain. As long as you keep it close, Bron is just waiting straight.
Bro, you hit it right on the head with the Rockets, bro. And we talked about this in the regular season. It's like, yo, they just throw the ball to KD. Tell him to go make something happen. Make the right decision. And without him on the court, that changes everything. Like you said, like they don't look fluid offensively. They don't have enough shooting. It's just not enough. And like you said, when you have LeBron James on the other side that can dictate the game and control the game and pick you apart defensively, LeBron catching the ball in the post is the worst thing that can happen.
Literally.
You catch the ball in the post with his back to the basket and he can see everything. It's a wrap. He literally oh, let me shoot it. Having his way.
Bro.
Yeah. Shout out to LeBron, man. Shout out to the Lakers. Shout out Luke Kennard, man. Hit some big shots. Duke guy. Yeah. You seen it. Dominating. Out there hooping. Living up to his self-proclaimed nickname. Good luck to the Rockets, man. They better hope KD comes back and can make this a competitive series. I'm actually looking forward to seeing LeBron and KD match up again, man. So hopefully KD can get back on the court. As far as what you said about the Lakers, man, if it goes 6 or 7, man, leave them boys out the game, man. Do not bring them boys back. And I'm talking about Luka and AR. Don't bring them back, bro.
Really?
Bruh. No, bruh. Because if they come out there and they get hurt again, why? We don't need you to further hurt yourself. And don't let us win the series and you get hurt. Like, come on, dog. We ain't need that. Rest up. Relax. Let Bron handle this.
Oh my goodness.
And if y'all lose and KD come back, cool. Now, if the Lakers lose and KD don't come back and then lose this series, hey, LeBron, it's time to hang it up, brother. But if KD come back and the Rockets, win this series, hey, it is what it is. But I wouldn't rush them boys back right now, man. I wouldn't rush them back right now.
I don't know if I agree with that, bro. Like, I feel like because this is the playoffs, it just depends on like what kind of rushing it looks like. Because I think that if you bring AR back, you might consider Luka, but I think Bron is going to need help later on in the series because it's going to get tricky. I feel like the Rockets are going to, still, come back to form and win some games. But if it's like a 3-2 or even 3-3, I'm definitely bringing back the guys. And
okay, if it gets to like a game 7 situation or like they down in the series, cool. But like if they up 3-1 or if they up 3-2,
yeah, obviously, yeah.
No, don't bring them boys back, man.
Yeah, if it's 3-1, that like you could honestly argue that Houston Rockets probably was one of the most disappointing teams based on offseason projections if it goes 3-1. So I feel like I'm saying from the standpoint of, finish the series out, especially if it's 6. Oh, yeah, I'm bringing the guys back. Finish the series out and let's get ready for the Thunder. Because I think them coming back, you're still going to need to get Luka and, I think AR will be in shape, but like basketball shape. Because being out that long, you playing the Thunder. So
right, I'm not risking them boys coming back against the Rockets at no point if we up in the series and I know that we got to play the Thunder next. Because, bruh, if they come out there and they get hurt and they got to play the Thunder with just LeBron, they're getting swept easily. at least I can rest them boys and have them back out there for the Thunder, and we can at least compete a little bit. I feel like if the Lakers go out there with just LeBron James against the Thunder, oh, this might be worse than the Suns.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, and that's, I guess, for Bron right now, like, what would success look like? Would it just be winning a series and like competing against the Thunder, or does he have to upset both? Like, prepare him to stay.
Is he by himself, or is AR and Luka back?
If he can get,
I feel like if he's by himself, I feel like him winning this series alone is enough.
Enough for him to stay?
Like play another year, or like retire, or like
go to stay with the Lakers.
I don't know, bro, because I was seeing something the other day. I was saying that like LeBron might retire at the end of the season. So it was saying that he don't want a farewell tour. That's what the reports were saying now. So if he done after this season, I mean, I don't see him going anywhere, in all honesty, bro. Like if he decides to play again, bro, like he's gonna come back and play again with the Lakers. I don't see him changing teams at this point, bro.
I think he wants a farewell tour. I feel like he wants to be in Cleveland, and I feel like it's gonna be a send off.
I don't want to see that, bro. I don't want to see him back in Cleveland, bro. Like just stay with the Lakers, bro. Like just have your farewell tour if you're gonna have your farewell tour. Like why do you need to change teams to have a farewell tour?
You know,
or if anything, just play with the Lakers and then just ask for a trade before the deadline and go to Cleveland. Also 2K. Play half the season with the Lakers, play half the season with the Cavs. But both teams got to understand we not winning no championship. Maybe Cleveland. Maybe Cleveland.
I was gonna say Cleveland, if he can go on like a reasonable contract, I feel like they could still be viable, bringing everybody back. Now, obviously, we talked about Donovan Mitchell potentially getting traded if he doesn't sign that contract extension, but like, I think they still have quality pieces, and Bron doesn't have to be the first or second option. And hopefully, if Mobley takes a step up, then he doesn't even have to be the third option. So,
I just wonder how that looks, though. Like, if he decides to go to, let's just say everybody stays and he decides to go to Cleveland. You got James Harden, you got Donovan Mitchell, you got LeBron, you got Mobley, you got Jared Allen. How does that look?
Scary.
I just don't know how that looks offensively, though. Like, is LeBron the point guard? Is James Harden the point guard? Like, I feel like both of them can control the game, as we talked about before. But, like, what does that look like? Like, I feel like that's like I don't know, bro. I feel like that's too much, bro.
I agree. I mean, I can see what you're saying. Just like, I don't know what a 42-year-old Bron will look like. But no, I feel like LeBron's one of those guys where, like, even if he doesn't want to, I feel like his impact on the game alone, he deserves one. So it's just like, I don't think he can just go out willy-nilly like that. Like, Adam Silver's not having that. And plus the TV ratings that you'll get with just the Bron farewell tour.
Yeah, and ticket sales for all them teams. Like, that would be crazy. But I don't know, man. I feel like if he can get past the Rockets, he's just like, oh, I'm ready to go. I mean, who gonna drag him back? I feel like they'll honor him like throughout the season or whatever, but like, I don't know, man.
Yeah,
I could definitely see him hanging it up after this season.
Any big surprises this weekend? Like, obviously, we talked about the Magic Pistons, but like any other notable surprises from the games?
Now, like I said, like with the Knicks game, like I gained confidence in them. Like, I thought this series could possibly go 7. It might go 6 still, but like I don't see it going 7 at this point. I just don't think the Hawks really have enough outside of Jalen Johnson, Nikhil, and CJ. I don't think Okongwu is going to be shooting as many threes or hitting as many threes as he did in game one. I think the Knicks going to adjust to that. But other than that, nah. I mean, everything's going to script, as you say. The script has been written.
Yeah. Low key, man, I feel like the NBA should change this format. I feel like this round should be 3 because I feel like it would add a lot more urgency. And man, think about even with the Magic, if it was 3 games, this next game is going to be like do or die.
Yeah.
And the same thing with the Lakers. Like I feel like Brian could steal a 3-game series because you only got to win one more game. And I feel like it should go, even if it goes 3-5-7 or 3-7-7. Like I feel like this first round needs a little bit more urgency.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see why you say that. Will it ever happen? Probably not.
Yeah.
But I mean, I wouldn't be mad at it, especially if you're like the underdog. Like you done stole the first game on the road and doggone, and now you only got to win one more game to go to the next round. That's a lot of pressure on the other team that lost too. So yeah, I mean, when you have 7 games, I mean, like I said, you got enough time for adjustments. You can change things up game to game and still be good. Now, if you go down 2-0 and you the home team, it can get a little tricky. But you can still come back from that. So
yeah,
we'll see.
Yeah. Well, shoot, that's all I got, man. We got playoff games tonight. So we'll definitely be back next week or at the end of this week, probably with a recap of the, this first round. I got a lot of exciting more content coming your way with WNBA talk with John and Hundo. We even got football talk coming. Like we got the draft this week. So man, news is coming out every day. So as news comes in, we're going to file it away and then continue to get content for you guys. As always, make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. If you know somebody who doesn't know about Winning Shot, just share it with them. Give them an easy listen as they drive, go to work, do what they need to do. We promise to just continue to keep content coming. We got to get back on the Substack, Hundo. Like we've been kind of slacking. We got to get back on the right. Yeah. So if you're a reader, hop on the Substack, comment, because we want to engage with you guys on y'all's takes, and we're going to call y'all out with stats and facts. But as always, man, we appreciate y'all for listening. Thank you, and stay tuned for more. Peace.
Peace.